Anyway, let's have a look. Let's see. Okay, I think that's good. Evening all. I think we're working. If we are, as per usual, please give us a thumbs up underneath here, wherever it is. Or type something in the comments, and then that way I know it's working. Especially as I haven't done this for a week and I've forgotten how half of it works. Let's see. 2 brews tonight. Look, a cup of tea and a hot lemon to keep me going. So, hopefully we'll get through. Right, let's have a look. We're getting some thumbs. That's good. Evening, David. Yeah, good. Seems to be working then. Marvellous. Right, so sorry for my absence for the past week. I've been somewhat suffering unexpectedly from some very nasty flu thing. Not COVID. I've had COVID twice, and this is what I just had is worse than when I had COVID. So, evening, Dougie. Something my niece very kindly gave me. She's very good at sharing her bugs. And yeah, just knocked me sideways, really. Worst of it was a absolutely excruciating migraine, which I couldn't look at a screen or anything for days. It's horrible. 3 or 4 days I had that for. Worst I've had it for years, so that was not good. That's put me behind on everything, really. Evening, Paul. So yeah, a bit more lively today. Still got a bit of a bad throat and a blocked nose, but apart from that, we're surviving. So yeah. So earlier today, I sent out an email to everyone. I did mean to send it out via the Coldcom messaging system because I know you're not all on the old mailing list. So I haven't done that yet. So if you've not got it, I'll send it out later on via the Coldcom as well. But the gist of it was to even Peter 6 questions. Just to try and get some feedback from people on way forward with auctions, recharges, etc. So the questions were, he says, I've got the email here. What percentage commission would you be prepared to pay to sell stuff? What percent buys premium to buy stuff? With videos, what would you pay to have a video made of your lot? Like the slot machine videos I've been doing. When should auctions be? I should be doing them on Sunday like we used to before, Sunday afternoon, or it's some other time better. Whether to have the auctions mixed as we used to do in the good old days, or whether to just have an auction that's just slot machines 1 month, and then perhaps the next month might be just fairground stuff, and the month after might be just enamel signs or whatever. Excuse me. And then what to do with the Coldcom website, in as much as how to fund it, basically, how to keep it going. So I don't want to just leave it, too much has gone into it. But if we're not going to use it for the buying and selling so much, then people are probably not going to want to pay so much to use the site, obviously, because it's just kind of then all the information in the database. So what would you be prepared to pay for that? So those were the 6 questions. So I've had a few responses in. Hopefully over the next couple of days I'll get a load more in, and then Tuesday night I can kind of collate together people's thoughts and try and make some sense of it all, really. Evening, Peter C, Kevin and Chris. Feeling slightly better. Hot lemon first, then tea. Keep you going. So yes, that was the gist of that's the 6 questions. So I've tried to put a bit of explanation with each one as well, to see what my thoughts are. 2 or 3 people I've spoke to as well, and there's a bit of a train of thought that's kind of come through in the past week or 2. Is it maybe that a one-size-fits-all just won't work and can't be made to work? regarding fees, etc. Maybe some kind of a tiered approach might work better, which is not a bad idea, because, you know, kind of at one extreme you've got, I mean, we used to have quite a few dealers. We've not had so many in the past year because it's just been machines, but when, excuse me, at the Elephant House, you know, with all the weird and wonderful stuff, all the signage and kind of quirky, antique bits and bobs, quite a few dealers and all that kind of funky stuff came, and obviously, you know, dealers are buying a lot of stuff, and the other end of the extreme, you've got the sort of the occasional collector. There's quite a lot of those who would perhaps save up all year and buy a machine, often in the November sale, which is why the November sale was always so busy, I think. And we'd literally only probably see them once a year. But we saw them once a year for the past 20 or 30 years. They are regular customers, they're just not buying all the time. They buy 1 or 2 bits a year. And so, you know, there's definitely an argument there for customers who are using us a lot to get a better deal than those who only use occasionally. As with any auction house now, if you go, you know, and to any auction and say, right, I want to sell my whole collection, they'll do you a much better deal than if you just take one thing in. Of course, because it's less work. And we always did the same. For instance, when we sold big collections like John Carter's or John Morley's or John Hayward's, is everybody John who sold collections? I think they probably are anyway. A deal was always done because it took the whole auction, and it was, well, there was nearly as much work because you've still got to photograph everything, catalogue everything. You're only dealing with one lot of paperwork, the other side of the auction, as it were, only one lot of payouts. So it does actually save quite a bit of time. Save probably a good day, really. Instead of paying out 40, 50, 60 people, you only got to pay out one. And, you know, there's a slight saving in bank charges and all that kind of thing, so it is a little bit cheaper to do it like that. So, trying to figure out how to fund the Colcon site as well. A suggestion, a couple of people have come up with the same idea in a roundabout way, would be that keep a charge, either the same or less, for the Colcon website. Leave the spare parts and bits and bobs on there. But then give essentially a members discount, if you like, to auction fees. So that is, again, those of you using more and more often get a better deal than just the occasional ones. Obviously, going on to the Easy Live will hopefully pick up some new, excuse me, some new people who have not found us before, not come across us before, who just fancy buying the odd machine or the odd bit of fairground art or sign or whatever it is, and bring some new people into the fold again. And of course, that's new buyers and potentially new sellers as well. So hopefully it brings a bit of fresh blood in, apart from anything else. But again, the occasional buyer might pay at one rate, and then those who are contributing to the Collector Connector website, keeping that going, or paying their monthly dues or whatever, we get a you know, much lower rate, 25% off maybe or something. You need to do some sums on it, work it out. On all the auction fees. So that's quite a good idea. I'll perhaps try and figure that out, how the numbers might work on that. The videos was essentially because, you know, in the past couple of years, videos have been essential really to sell stuff when people couldn't sensibly come and view. Evening, Greg from Thirsk. I asked what you're doing in Thirsk. So the videos have really helped sell stuff, and I think they've got good prices for things, but they take a long time to do. Essentially, it's about 2 hours per video by the time it's shot. There's a lot of work in doing those machine videos. Might not look it, but there is, you know, doing the machine complete on the turntable, then taking it to bits. So you can see the inside of the cabinet, then the mechanism, then putting it all back together again, showing it working, and so on, and all that Video has to be put into the computer, it has to be edited. You know, it takes time to render it out, it takes time to upload it, add the code to the website, blah, 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 blah. It's about 2 hours of video. So it's something I've done in the past couple of years, the past year, whatever it's been, just to keep things going, really. But going forward, that would have to be charged for somehow or other. Now, there's kind of two ways of doing that, essentially. Either allow a percentage across the board, across the whole of the auction. I don't know what it would be, but I don't know, 5%, let's say, let's pick a figure out of the air, to bring in some income to possibly pay for somebody else to make those videos, and then just make as many as can be made in whatever time's available. But arguably, why, if you're selling, say, I don't know, a sign, piece of fair owned art that doesn't need a video, it just needs a nice photograph, why should you subsidise paying for a video for somebody who's selling a one-armed bandit? So that's not really fair, is it? So I think the way forward there would be to have it as an optional charge. If you want a video to help sell your lot, it's X pounds, whatever X pounds needs to be, and then it's up to you if you think it's worth it or not. Personally, I think it's a bit of a no-brainer, because I think that it's got good prices. It would be interesting to see in an auction if there were similar machines, because it's probably really only applied to machines pretty much, because in most things, you know, if there's not something like a mechanical machine that's operating, or maybe a piece of automata, or what else might you want a video of, jukebox or something like that. Other things, if it's a sign, or if it's a, I don't know, a piece of sculpture, if you like, it might be a piece of fairground carving, doesn't really need a video, does it? You can do that with 2 or 3 photographs. So it'd be interesting to say in a sale with 2 or 3 similar lots, some videoed and some not, just how much price difference it made. I think it'd probably make quite a lot. I could be wrong, but that's my feeling. So I think that's probably the fairest way to do that, is to offer it as an extra. If you want it, that's up to you then, isn't it? If you think it's worth it to help sell your item or not. So that was the thought on the videos. The few responses I've had so far, really, fees, you know, percentages, commissions and premiums. Evening Alan from Cardiff. I think 1 or 2 people have been slightly unrealistic. I think, you know, everybody wants everything for nothing, of course. Nobody likes to pay any fees for anything. That is the obvious answer. But when you are paying 30-odd% at most other auctions these days, to expect me to be able to do it for 5% is a bit unrealistic, and I'm not going to be able to do it for 5%. I couldn't do it for 5% before, so I certainly can't anymore. So try and think what you're paying other places. Think what eBay, etc. really costs you as a seller. I was having a conversation earlier with somebody, and they reckoned, other than when they do special offers, obviously you can't account for special offers or whatever. But generally speaking, the proper eBay percentage, by the time you pay that, and the listing fees, and the few pence for this, and a few pence for that, and a few pence for the other, and forced to use their, whatever their banking thing is these days, that they charge you for. And I think they still take a percentage of your postage fees, which I can't understand how they get away with that. But anyway, whatever. You're basically knocking on 20% pretty much. Most auctions houses in the land, you struggle, unless you're a very good customer selling a hell of a lot of stuff. You won't get less than about 10% as a seller. And most of them buyers is 20 to 30%. Some of them more than 30% these days. People like Hanson's are nearly 40%, I think, now. So there we are, plus all the other bits and bobs. So, you know, just be sensible really, because otherwise why will I bother doing it? You know, I might just as well go and work in telly full time. They pay me a few £100 a day, no worries. I'll just go and build some props and come home again. So I might as well just go and do that and let somebody else worry about auctions. Peter says, help please, how do you respond? It does not seem to let me. Oh, to the email, just reply to the email basically. It's the easiest way. Just reply to that email and just stick your answers in where it says your answer, or just send an email back. It's only 6 questions, so just send me an email back with answer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 if you like. Something like that. So yes, commissions and premiums. I know you'd like to pay 0%, but the question isn't what would you like to pay. The question is what would you be prepared to pay. Because I've got to try and see if it's worthwhile me doing it. As simple as that. As to when the auctions be, the responses so far seem to think stick with the Sunday afternoons. That's always worked for most people. Sunday evenings has been suggested as well. Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of difference to me. So we will, you know, just see what people think. But Sunday afternoon seems to work, doesn't it? If it's too late on a Sunday, you know, mind people, if people have got work the next day or got to get kids to school or whatever. That's the only thing where I think Sunday evening might not be so good for people. But with the online ones, you can always leave commission bids anyway, and the system bids up to your amount, so it will try and buy it as cheap as it can for you. So if you leave a £500 bid on the machine, I, as the auctioneer, don't see what you bid. It's all, you know, secretly locked away in your account with Easy Live, as it were, and then the system just bids against any other bids that came in at the time it sold. So you might get it for £400, you might get it for 450, you might get outbid, it might sell at 510. That's just how it works. So, you know, the worst case scenario, you won't lose out anyway. Greg says, as a buyer on eBay, you pay sole. The burden is on the seller, yeah. A different business model, but does it achieve higher bids? I'm not advocating it, but just thinking over the options to make it viable. Yep, no, all suggestions are most welcome. Yeah, there is a thing with eBay. They haven't, as of yet, tried to introduce any kind of buyer's premium. Interestingly, the responses I've had so far are suggesting a pretty even split. Whatever percentage people are coming up with, they are more or less suggesting the same percentage to either side. In other words, split the costs between buyer and seller, which again seems fairest, really. You know, if you put it all on the buyer side, obviously that can stifle the bids a bit. If you put it all on the seller's side, the sellers are going to try and allow that in their reserves, and you end up with higher reserves and not so much stuff sells. So it does make sense to try and split it roughly down the middle. All I can go on what most auctions, or just virtually every auction, does, to my knowledge, are almost all weighted so the buyer is paying more than the seller is paying, and it's just generally just to get stuff in to sell. Because if you don't get any lots in, you ain't going to sell anything. And I say, looking at most, I've been looking at over the past few weeks, these days, the best deal you'll get is about 10, anywhere sort between 10 to 15% as a seller. and most buyers' premiums are 20 to 30%. So sort of a third, 2/3. Third costs borne by the seller, 2/3 by the buyer. Chris says, will the fees be plus VAT? Not initially. I'll stay at the VAT as long as I can, as I always did. In the good old days at the Elephant House, we just skated along underneath it. They tried very hard to get us the VAT, but they couldn't, no matter how they tried, and that took a lot of jiggling sometimes, especially if we had a big auction in. As most of you know, the VAT isn't January to January. It's a continuously rolling 12 months, and you're supposed to look at it in a 3-month block. If you think that 3 month is going to go over the quarterly threshold, then you have to register. So it was always a bit of a jiggle if we had a big auction come in, like the Carter collection or John Molly's or whatever, to try and fit when we could fit it in, with other auctions that weren't going to produce so much. And again, that was one of the reasons why sometimes cutting the fee a little bit from my side, from what I was going to earn out of the auction, kept it out of the VAT when we would have lost a lot more and had to charge everybody else that. So VAT is one of those things I have no control over, unfortunately. There won't be any VAT initially, but if and when we get to the threshold, we'll have to register. We've got no way around it. Dougie, as a buyer, you would simply factor in a percentage when deciding your highest bid? Yes, that's what most people do, isn't it? Tom says, this is online only. Is this going to finish on a set day, and is there a limit on number of lots given storage and ability to view? No, this will be online auctions like any other auction that does online bidding. So the auctions would be most likely on a Sunday afternoon, as we used to do them at the Elephant House. That seems to be the favourite time people are suggesting at the moment. Viewing wise, it will be a bit of a muddle for the next however long I'm still here in Cambridge, and until we get the Elephant House re-roofed. It will probably be a case of muddling along best I can in the meantime here. If it gets so that I can't accommodate everything here, then I'll have to look to rent somewhere, possibly short term, a little warehouse somewhere. The beauty of having of not having people in the auction room is you need a lot less space. I mean, when I first started the Colcon thing, there was 40 machines here in the conservatory, that first batch of machines we had to sell that collection in. And I got them all in one little room because I didn't have any people in. Compared to most auctions at the Elephant House, 40 machines was about average for an auction, 30 to 40 machines usually, and that took up half the auction room. When you have to have all the machines at counter height, and space for people to see them, you know, that becomes a problem. So yeah, as to a limit of lots, yeah, if they've got too much, we just have to spill them over into the next auction. So we'll play it as and when that happens, really. Peter says, if it helps, here are my responses in public to be open and honest. Marvellous. Selling 12, buying 12, videos 15-ish, Sundays 2 o'clock. Mixed auction, website for over a month. Thank you very much. Live auctioneers, please. Greg says, agree. Dead ones look untidy. Well, yes. So yeah, with the spares and bits and bobs, the idea has kind of come back round again. I kind of went off the idea for a while of fixed price sales on the website, because a couple of people had said the problem with fixed prices is if you put them on at Monday morning at 10 o'clock, they're at work, by the time they get home, that thing's sold and they're very annoyed. And that's not fair. Okay, well, that's live to an extent, isn't it? You could say that about eBay or anything else. It was also a fair point. Well, if the bit was for auction or for offers, the seller might get more money for it than if they fix a price at £5, £10, £20, whatever, and it sells, they might have got more. Which again is a fair point. On the other hand, if the seller was happy with £5 for their sprocket, and they sell it for £5 for their sprocket, what's the problem? They've got what they wanted. So speaking to a couple of people today on that idea again, I seem to sort of be coming back in favour of doing the fixed listings again. So we'll see what people think on that. As I said, with spares, I consider it more of a service, really. I don't make a lot of money out of them. I don't think there's really a way, because of their value and how infrequently they sell, there is any way to make a business out of it, if you like. It is just a service. I think it's a valuable service that people need. You know, spare parts, bags of coins, and bits and bobs like that. But because you're selling low volume and low value, there's really no way to make much money out of it as a business proposition. And you know, so therefore somehow or other it's got to be subsidized. So that's something to think of. But we might, I certainly don't really want to do live auctions. I think that is a waste of time. It just bores the hell out of people. So we'll think a bit more on that one. It says spares on timed auctions. Yeah, timed auctions was my thought. Let's see. So if your auction software works, why not use for spares? It covers all the options then. Yeah, the thing is of not wanting to use too many different systems. We're doing too many different things with. So if you've got one auction software running for selling machines, etc., something else for selling spare parts, perhaps something else for other bits and bobs, whatever that may be, books and things, you end up with too many different systems and trying to keep track of it all. I'm trying to see if there's a way of linking the Easy Live back office with mine. Mine does things theirs doesn't, interestingly. Equally, theirs does things that mine doesn't. There's not going to be an easy way of tying the two together, really. But most of you probably, if you're buying and selling, you probably already have an account with Easy Live anyway. If not, it's simple enough to set up. So that's not a huge issue. But yeah, so we'll continue to think on the spares front, I think. It may be a case of just excuse me, setting all spares to go live at a certain time, and then everybody knows at, I don't know, perhaps we set that for the Sunday when there's not an auction, for example. So one Sunday there might be a proper auction of stuff, a live auction, and then the next Sunday there might be a batch of spares all go on and all go live at 1 o'clock. You can all tune in instead of watching the football or whatever you do on a Sunday afternoon, and scramble for the bits. Who can click buy now first? I don't know what else to suggest. So that's where we're at with that. The idea of having the focused or mixed auctions, most people seem to think mix it up, but try and block the stuff together, which makes sense. So, for example, block all the machines together, block all the enamel signs together, all the fairground stuff together, all the circus bits and bobs together, whatever. So if you're only interested in the fairground art, you only need to tune in for that section, that 30 lots, whatever it might be. Then go about your business. So that makes sense. That's probably the best way of doing that. The problem with trying to just do an auction of just one narrow subject is it might take 3 months, 6 months to get enough stuff to do an auction, and then you're waiting a long time if you're a seller for your stuff to come up, or, you know, as a buyer if you're looking to buy stuff, of course. Because there would be not much point having an auction of 10 machines. If it was literally just machines, you want to have an auction of 50 probably at least, or more. But it might take 3 months to find 50 machines. So I think that's where we're at with that. Greg says, first auction, have no sellers fees, 20% buyers, then 10% sellers and 20% buyers. Haven't considered the other charges. Interesting idea, isn't it? A good kickstart. With a no sellers fees, I might do, yeah, I could do no, maybe to kick it off, no sellers for existing Colcon members. So those of you who have been devout supporters for the past year or so of all the you know, uncertainty and everything that's going on, then it's only good and proper, I think you should get a deal. Yeah, so we could do something like that. I quite like that idea. I should make a note. For Colcon. Then I might have to limit the quantity per person or something. Again, just because of space, apart from anything else. But we'll try. Yeah, I'll do something. Yeah. I'll think of something on that one. I'm thinking as I'm writing. What was I saying? Yes. Mixed auctions of stuff. Yes, block the stuff together. So that would work on that. And then, yeah, as I say, with the website, what to do? Well, if that carries on with the spares somehow or other on the site, it might be that I say there's a couple of ways of looking at it. It might be that if you were to carry on paying the current tenner a month, but then give you a deal on auction fees, like maybe 25% off or something, which if you're buying more than 1 or 2 machines, you would probably work very much in your favour, I would think, just off the top of my head. And then maybe offer maybe a lower level as well, just for the occasional buyer, but without the discount on the thing. So that might be, I don't know, £20 a year, let's say, or something. But without the discount for the auction, so you'd pay full auction fees. Don't know. That's an idea, doing something like that. So yeah, we'll continue to think on that one. Dear me. Excuse me. My voice is lasting longer than I thought it might. So that's a good sign. Yeah, so I think that was those kind of 6 points I think I've covered pretty much. As to when, we are in the process of setting this stuff up with Easy Live. That will continue next week, hopefully. So the first sale I penciled in for the 1st of May, which will be a clear out here of lots of stuff that's been accumulated over the years by Mum, of bygone-y stuff, Victorian-y stuff. That's all got to go, so there'll all be no reserve. We like our good old-fashioned pound sales, if you like. Everything can start at £1, no reserve, it sells whatever it sells for. It's got to go, so it doesn't matter. But it'd be a good trial run for me to make sure everything's working as it should do, and get a feel for the system. And you know, if you haven't used the Easy Live thing before, you can tune into that and have a look and have a play. And at the absolute worst that happens, you might end up buying I don't know, a horse brass for £1 or something. Well, it's not, you know, not the end of the world, is it? So that'll be the first one. 1st of May, Sunday the 1st of May, all being well. And then we'll look to probably the middle of May, something like that, for a first amusement sale. So as soon as in a couple of weeks' time, as soon as everything is set up with Easy Live, we've got to test internet connections and one thing and another. Then I'll confirm that date up and start accepting entries for it. And get stuff catalogued. In between now and then, it's going to be probably pretty slow with stuff coming up for sale on the website. There is a couple of machines here to go on, a couple of there's a Bally, there's a C2 Seegers, I think. There's another one supposed to come in this week. I think it's another Seeger. So there'll be a few bits and bobs up here, but probably not a lot in the meantime. But we'll, you know, do our best to keep things rolling along in the meantime. Peter says it all sounds great, but we are overthinking it all. Yeah, maybe. It's just a case of trying to you know, make it as cater for everybody as best as possible, I suppose, is the way I'm trying to put it. And it's still got to be workable, and it's still got to pay somewhere on the line. So yeah, there we are. Any more suggestions, bright ideas? Do let me know. And we can discuss. So hopefully come Tuesday I've had a few more responses, and I'll try to collate them and get together a little bit. Alan says, what will happen to Colcon when the auctions start? The website will stay. Possibly we'll use it for buying and selling spare parts, coins, books, things like that. But as the big database, all the information, that will stay and just continually be added to. What I'm trying to figure out is a way to, because the website costs money to host and run, of how that can be subsidized, whether people would still pay something to use it, or if we need to try and find some other way of making it pay. Because I want to make it bigger and better. You know, I've got tons of archive stuff to add on. I've got old copies of Coin Slot and Trade Magazine things that can scan adverts out and add on. I've got photographs to add on, all sorts of stuff. But that takes time. I can't do everything. I can't be running an auction and sitting here scanning stuff. It would be nice to be able to afford to pay somebody, even if it was a few hours a week, just to say, right, there's a ton of photographs, go through and scan them and upload them to the website. Because there's a lot of stuff that could be added on. But it is just as simple as that. I can't do everything. So that's what we're trying to figure out, how to keep that going and how to make it better. There's things I touched on a few weeks ago, ideas of doing things like some kind of interactive map of arcades and fairgrounds and amusement parks and stuff over the years, so you could kind of click on a map and see what was where and when. Which we've had a good response to. People thought it was a good idea, but again, it's something that takes time to program. Either I've got to spend the time programming it, or I've got to pay somebody else to do it, one or the other. So there's lots of great ideas to make the website bigger and better. But the how to do it is the problem we're trying to come up with. Well, it's still important to keep Qualcomm. Yep. Yes, please keep it. Yep, we'll do. Paul says, be nice to still have the live chats once a week. Yes, we'll carry on doing them as well. Definitely, people seem to like it. I've really enjoyed all the scans and photos. Yeah, I will do more of those. I've just been the past couple of weeks was just everything's gone a bit wrong, really. Also behind now with the edit for the DVD. We wanted to have that done and off to the DVD people by now, being made, but that hasn't quite happened. Because, as I say, the last week I've not been able to even look at a screen. It's given me a blinding headache. Fortunately, that seems to have subsided a bit now, so try and get on with some of that next week. And then we need to sort out the thing at Paul's for Easter. When I wanted the DVD to be finished to be able to collect, it doesn't look like it will be, sadly, but we'll carry on and do our best. We won't have to preview it maybe on a laptop or something, but you'll have to post the DVDs out when they're finished or something. I don't know. We'll sort something out. But yeah, all that kind of stuff, all that kind of socially stuff, archive stuff, old pictures and all that. Excuse me. I definitely want to continue with and do a lot more of, because I find it interesting as well. I'm a collector as well, don't forget, and this is interesting to me as it is to you. So yeah, definitely want to do a lot more of that. It's just finding a way to do it. Greg says, anyone else getting slightly excited about the new auctions? I must calm down and take my pills. There are a few people getting quite excited, I can tell you that. So let's hope it transfers through into lots of interesting goodies to sell. And, you know, some fierce bidding is what we want. But yeah, I know there's people saving stuff for it, have been saving stuff for a proper auction for 2 years. People are sitting on stuff because they either didn't like or just didn't get or didn't understand the Qualcomm system, which is fair enough. I wanted a proper auction, so hopefully it'll be good. But yeah, and as I say, especially if we do some kind of a deal for the first one of on the commission for selling, which I'll do, but so I might have to restrict it to, I don't know, a couple of machines per person or something, just for physical space, if nothing else. Because we suddenly had 300 machines turn up here at Cambridge. I haven't got anywhere to put them. So yeah. Oh dear. But it should be good. Should be good. Any more from anybody? Any more bright ideas? Anybody got a spare empty warehouse I can borrow for a few months? That'd be useful. There just doesn't seem to be anybody anywhere about at the minute. I was having a quick look the other day. Well, yeah, it was a quick look because it gave me a headache after about 5 minutes. Just on available commercial properties around, and there just aren't any, basically. The warehouses seem to be in short supply at the minute. And a few that are just hideously expensive. So yeah, the quicker we can earn some money and get the Elephant House re-roofed, the back bit, the better. So bid generously. It's all for a good cause. Perhaps I should put a slate levy on every lot or something. Every lot you have to buy a slate for the roof. Might be a good idea, mightn't it? See how quickly we can raise however many slates it is we need. My tea's gone cold now, what's left of it. So yeah, there we are. As I say, hopefully you will have got an email. If you haven't, I'll send it out on the ColdCom messages too, so have a check on that later on. And then just have a think and ping me back your thoughts, really. I deliberately haven't suggested any percentages or whatever, because I just want people's honest thoughts, really. So I know you all would like to pay 0%, but that's not the question. The question is, what would you pay? What would you like to pay? And hopefully we can find a happy medium between buyers and sellers. That will also cover all the costs to make it work. Peter's off, getting ready for Clacton. Marvellous. See you there. Hopefully my cold will be gone by then. Yes, collecting, delivering, etc. this coming week. Tomorrow, I've got to go out tomorrow afternoon. Meeting about building some props and stuff for a job potentially. Other than that, the rest of the week I'll probably be around. I will try and get to Leamington the end of the week. I'll leave till the end. You probably want to avoid me for a few days anyway, because you don't want this, what I've had. So I won't want to meet anybody unless I can really help it. But probably pencil in if Friday for Leamington, probably. If you want to meet there to collect anything you bought or drop anything to sell, just sort of bear that in mind. And the rest of the week, Cambridge. Alan sent me some new dates. I must put them up on the website. I've not put them up yet, have I? Or did I? I don't think I did, no. What am I looking for? Shipping. March, yeah, so I've got April, 1st to the 3rd. I think I've got April, May, June now dates, so I'll put them up as well. So yeah, my voice is going. Might be time to stop shortly. I've done quite well. I've lasted nearly an hour. Lasted longer than I thought I would. David said, mainly cover your costs and your profit and give a discount to long members. Yeah, I think that's the, we'll work on something like that, discount to, well, yeah, to kind of both really. If you're Qualcomm member and the more you use it, the less the charges would be. Excuse me. So I think we will try and do some kind of tiered thing like that. And then, just the odd person that comes out of the blue, buys a machine and disappears again, well, they can pay full whack, can't they? Like they would do with anybody else. Mark says, evening from Leamington Spa. Evening from Leamington Spa. First time newbie to the site. Enjoyed listening to everyone's thoughts. Nice to see you. Thank you very much. Greg says, makes sense. What makes sense, David? Oh, yes, to, yeah, some kind of discounty structure thing. Yeah, we'll work on that. That's how all things ought to be, really, isn't it? The more you use something, the better customer you are, the better deal you should get. Greg says, hello, Mark, welcome to the party. Yeah, I'm usually slightly more lively than I am tonight. So it's all these drugs, all these Lemsips, somewhat subdued. So yeah. But yes, good stuff. So I think that's probably about it for me, because I'm just about run out of voice. I will catch up on Tuesday night, will be the next video, and hopefully we'll have had some more responses in from people with their thoughts on auctions, and we'll perhaps have made some decisions, or pretty much, on some facts and figures of where we're going to be. Tom says, how long will current Qualcomm service and subscription go on for, and any more things will be listed? It's a good question. I will make sure nobody sort of loses out, as it were. So whatever we do, I'll just add on, because I appreciate this last week I've not listed anything new because I've been out of action. So I'll add on a week or two, or a credit or something somehow or other. So don't worry about that. So there are 2 or 3 machines to go on. But people are, as I expected they would do, starting to say things and saying, well, if you're going to do auctions within a few weeks, I'll leave it till the auction. So, so what we're thinking of is doing something, keeping the Qualcomm website for the spares and coins and bits and bobs like that, and whereby then if you're paying a subs for the website, for the Qualcomm website, you would get a discount on auction fees, so it would be worth your while. To keep paying the subs. So that then keeps a bit of money flowing into the Qualcomm thing to keep that working and keep it running. But with the added bonus to you, if you're a supporter of it, of getting a decent discount. I'm thinking probably 25% off auction fees, which clearly if you're buying a £500 machine, or maybe in an auction you're selling one machine and buying another one, a sort of a 25% discount off roughly normal sort of auction fees, it's going to be, quite a chunk of money, isn't it? Going to be worth doing. So I'll fiddle around with some facts and figures in the next day or two, And so for Tuesday night, we'll have a hopefully a bit better idea where we're at with all that. And try and make something that works for everyone, really. But so the website, and in one form or another, will stay, because there's too much work gone into it to not. There's 18 months of hard work gone into that, which I haven't earned any money out of. So I'm not just going to turn it off. We'll keep it going one way or another and make it better, bigger and better. So yeah. So I think that's probably it before I excuse me, before my voice goes up totally. And I will catch you up on Tuesday. Hopefully I shall be in slightly improved health by then. In the meantime, have a think on all of that we've discussed. Ping me a message or whatever. And we'll go from there. Start thinking about what stuff you've got for auction. I'm sure you've all got something in your shed. And yeah, with the other stuff that we used to sell as well. So as well as machines, fairground stuff, enamel signs, advertising stuff, shop fittings, cash registers, vintage radios and stuff like that we used to do. A bit of automobilia, Americana, oh dear, all that sort of stuff. So there'll be a bit of a broader range of things to buy again, which would be nice. Yeah, right. I think that's it. I shall go and quietly in the corner and cough rather a lot, I think. So catch you Tuesday. Let me stick a note on here. Next video, Tuesday Eve, 8:05 PM. Oops. Plonk that in there like that. Mark says, Steve, hope you're feeling better for next time. Thank you very much. Me too. Yeah, right. Nighty night. Have a good one. And catch you Tuesday. Night all.